this video, I am probably on a stage somewhere singing just entirely too many high notes. And as is customary on my channel and on my blog Theater Commandments, when I am in Hell Week myself, I make an episode of Tales of Hell Week. You all know the drill by now, let's just get into the stories. It took 4 days to run a Q for a 50-minute show. Say what now? 4 days. Four entire days to do a Q for a 50-minute show. How many cannons and fire and guns and smoke and confetti and children and sopranos could you possibly have in a 15-minute show that would cause Q to take 4 whole days? I was designing hair and makeup for a musical at my college with a cast of 50+ people. 2 days before the preview, the director and costume designer decided that they did not like 99% of the designs, which had already been approved by said director weeks earlier. I spent the next 2 days scrambling to redesign the whole show with an uncooperative crew and faculty. And this is why it is so crucial to have communication between like the directors and the designers and the crew and everybody, because if you don't, then stuff like this can happen. Although I think it's like ridiculous that like they approved it and then they're like, oh, I don't like that. I have directed shows and I freely admit that like if I don't write it down or put it in a spreadsheet, I will forget it. I forget stuff all the time that people tell me. I am not a perfect angel when it comes to this, but I also have fail-safes in place for my dumbass brain that doesn't remember anything that anybody tells me. We had our Q on a Sunday because this was a Greek epic being done in rep and the other show had theirs the day before. This is college, so we all had class the next day and plenty of people were hungover from Saturday the night before. We were supposed to start at 10, but they had to push it back to 12 because the Qs hadn't even been entered into the computer yet. So we get there and around 3 p.m. or so, all of us in the audience start to smell something awful. I'm sitting with the other AD and we get a bad feeling. Suddenly the lighting guy stands up and asks what the smell is. They ask us to take a 5 while they find the smell. So we all head into the lobby. We sit for a while and plenty of rumors start to go around about what it could be. 5 turns into a 30 and we finally get to resume after losing so much time. And it turns out that what happened was that the electrical wiring on some plugs had melted and almost caught on fire. We just did Beauty and the Beast and this is our first year in a new theater on our campus, so we're still working out the kinks. On the second day of Tech Week, we tried out the chemical smoke machine and set off the fire alarms. So we had to switch to the loud, non-chemically fog, and it was working all through Tech Week until the preview, where it set off the alarms during the last scene. Then it happened again on opening night, so we had to stop using them altogether. 2 days before the show opens, the director realized that we didn't have a single prop. My friend, Parker, was put in charge and had to find roughly 50 props, from dinnerware to a trident. Somehow he managed, but I'll never understand how we were able to go 2 weeks of run-throughs without a single prop. How badly do you have to fuck up to make it to 2 days before opening and be the director on the show and just randomly go, oh, we don't have props. I was in a children's production of The Little Mermaid a few years ago, and we had not 1, not 2, but 3 broken legs. 2 of the 3 we had known about prior to opening night and had been able to work around them. The third, one of our ensemble members had decided it would be a good idea to jump off of an 8-foot fence the day before we opened. Our director was nice enough to let her do the show on crutches. Had I been directing, I would not have been as nice. So pro tip, when someone says break a leg, they do not mean, hey, go out and actively try to break your leg, because that is the only possible justification I can come up with in my brain for just deliberately jumping off of an 8-foot fence. The night before opening of Cabaret, the mirror ball we had in the show was cut. They couldn't get it to spin, and having it come in from the grid was hella awkward to watch anyway. Normally, that wouldn't be an issue. However, the mirror ball was a huge source of light and design aesthetic, and I don't care much. The morning of opening, our lighting designer had to come in and relight that entire scene. We had to teach about 7 other people the new cues, including the stage managers, at half hour. I was working as the ASM for a community theater production of Shrek the Musical. My best friend was stage managing. It was late at night after the cast had gone home following an incredibly long dress rehearsal. Since it was a dress rehearsal, the stage was covered in massive set pieces, instruments, and a 20-foot dragon puppet that required 3 puppeteers in special harnesses to manage. My friend and I were doing the regular cleanup when the director called us over. Hey, so Woody Allen's jazz band is playing in this theater tomorrow night, he said. I didn't know Woody Allen played in a jazz band, but that wasn't the end of his statement. We don't want them messing with our stuff. Move everything off the stage and into the back room. As a meager team of exhausted crew members hauled equipment and puppets from one side of the theater to the other late into the night, my friend and I grumbled about how we had been extremely inconvenienced by Woody Allen. Now, whenever Woody Allen comes up in conversation, I feel obligated to share my tale of woe. And that concludes the stories. Thank you so much to everybody who sent in stories. I love reading all of them. I get such a laugh out of all of them. Comment down below some of your Hell Week stories. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see y'all next week.